On an August afternoon, a boat was heading for a deserted portion of our coastline at full speed. It looked like an ordinary fishing boat, but it wasn't. Its real work was something very different, and was going to involve me in one of the strangest assignments that I ever had.
Jules!
Yeah?
It's a border patrol. Move it up fast!
Well, you know what to do.
What is the matter? What are you doing?
I have to hide you better.
Why you do that?
Nobody aboard, sir, but these three.
Parker, where's that man that was transferred to this boat off Porter's Reef?
Inspector, you must have us mixed up with some other boat.
All right, you better take a look over the side. Any sign of anything?
No, sir.
My friend, Chief Inspector Tim Reed, knew what had happened. Another alien had been murdered in cold blood. But without proof, Tim could do nothing.
Oh, hello, Mike.
Hi, Tim.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Oh, Mike, this is Ben. Ben Tepester, one of our best officers.
Hi, Ben. Well, what's it this time, Inspector? Is it as tough as the last job you gave me?
Maybe tougher. You know, Mike, here in these waters, smuggling aliens, illegal entry into the United States is big business.
It's a murderous business, too, from what I understand.
Right. Well, now, this is our first opportunity to slip one of our men into their pipeline. Ben here. Slip him in as an alien, certified, ready to be smuggled. It's our first big break. Providing one thing.
Huh?
Providing he lives. Now, we know at the first sign of trouble, they're going to dump him overboard to drown, just like all the others. When they do that, we're going to need somebody right there to help him.
Me, you mean, huh?
I hope so, Mike.
I can see why you said this was a tougher job. Off flood ocean there, Tim. I don't know.
Why, you don't have to decide right away, Mike. Study it through. Take Ben along with you. Try it out and think it over. Then let me know if you decide yes or no. Mike, this is our first real chance to blow this whole operation wide open.
How you feel about this?
I'm ready anytime.
Okay, we'll go to work.
Thanks, Mike.
Ben and I used the weeks that followed to conduct a series of systematic experiments. Developing an effective plan had all the fascination of a game, except for one thing. Ben's life was going to depend on our winning it. We didn't have much information to work on. All we knew was that Merker's men used an anchor and chain to weigh down their victims. Our problem would be to find some way to slow down or stop Ben's descent. I thought that he might be able to hide some self-inflating emergency packs in his clothing. With his help, I was trying to find out just how many it would take to slow down or even suspend a 70-pound anchor. I could see immediately that it would take more than a couple. 4 would hold the anchor. Ben would need 6 or 8. But how could Ben, helpless inside a net, trigger so many packs? I was stymied all over again. I decided to table that problem temporarily. My next step was to see how long Ben could hold his breath underwater. I taught him every trick that I knew to help him prolong his time. Hyperventilating, dry swallowing, and so on. Even the brief training that I had given him was paying off.
Put up your mask, boy. Let me take a look at you. Here's your...
He had done extremely well for a man new to diving. He wouldn't have a chance unless I could add at least another few minutes to that, artificially. I experimented with a small rebreathing device. It passed air through a chemical which removed the carbon dioxide from it. But it wasn't made in any size that Ben could conceal easily. A small capsule of compressed air looked more promising. Ben could take shallow breaths from it and add a few minutes to his time underwater. But the cylinder was just as difficult to conceal as the rebreathing device. Another problem was visibility. I would have to spot Ben quickly, even if the water was murky and dark. This will make it just like the water in the ocean. That's all. What do you think? The answer was some tiny special bulbs that I'd heard about. The chemical action of salt water ignited them automatically. These little bulbs have also given me the answer to how to automatically inflate the emergency packs in case Ben can't use his hands. It's the same principle. The chemical action of the salt water triggers the inflation cylinders.
We've tried it and it works.
Sounds very encouraging.
Yeah, but I still won't be able to get to him in time. We've stretched Ben's time limit to 4 minutes underwater, but that's not long enough.
I'm sure I could stretch it to 5 minutes with more practice.
No, it still wouldn't be safe.
So, what's the verdict, Mike?
I'm sorry, Tim, but I don't know how it can be done.
I'm willing to try it with just what we have got. Why, you could be dropped right over me by helicopter.
Ben, there's only one way that I can be sure that I'll reach you within the 4-minute margin. That's if I were right there in the boat with you the moment you were thrown over. And I can't imagine our murdering friends inviting me aboard, can you? Hey, wait a minute. I got an idea. This fella, Merker?
Yeah?
Does he still keep his boat moored at the 10th Street slip between trips?
That's right. But if you're thinking about hiding out on board, it won't work. We tried that before.
Give me until tomorrow, huh? I still haven't said no. I could only approach Merker's boat underwater. I had gotten a surface look at it from the distance, so I had a good idea of how it would look from below. I would have to be very careful. To alarm them might wreck everything. Besides, I knew from what Tim told me that they would murder anyone who got in their way. As I had hoped, the boat had a heavy keel log. I went to work with my hand drill. The drill was difficult to manipulate underwater, but I was making progress. Now I had to get a heavy ring firmly in place in the keel log. Then, if I could get away undetected, I knew that we could put our plan into operation.
You'll never get it like that. You might as well get wet. Go on in after it.
I'll get it. Yeah, I told you I'd get it.
With my preparations completed, I was ready now to take the risk that I could save Ben's life.
They've already sewn the emergency packs into Ben's clothing.
Good. What about my harness now?
Oh, yeah, that's right. What about the harness? I see. All right, thanks. Just finishing up on the harness, they'll bring it right into you.
That's fine.
You know, it's a pretty risky idea of yours, Mike. Tying onto those hooks onto Merker's boat.
Well, it'd be a lot more risky for Ben if I didn't. This way, I'll be right there when they dump him.
What are you doing there?
This chart shows a broad, shallow area. Through here, I'm marking it off. See, if they drop Ben into deep water, I still might have a lot of trouble getting to him in time.
So when we follow Merker's speedboat on the radar in our boat, you want the Coast Guard to send in the helicopter and surprise him. So he'll dump Ben just where we want him dumped.
Somewhere around here. Right in the center of this broad, shallow area. Of course, it's going to call for split-second timing, you know.
We can manage it. Oh, thanks. Well, is your harness reinforced enough?
That's fine. Let's... Yep, that's okay. Well, we're all set, huh?
Let's not kid ourselves, Mike. We haven't covered all the risks.
It's a risk every time we cross the street, isn't it, Tim? A daring immigration agent, Ben Tempesta, was putting himself into the hands of a murderous ring that specialized in alien smuggling. The Border Patrol and Coast Guard were ready to move in on the ring. But they would dump Tempesta into the sea at the first sign of alarm. It was my strange job to see that he survived this attempt at murder. At a remote dock he was being loaded into a speedboat. Later, it would rendezvous with Merker's boat in American waters. I had been dropped out of sight of Merker's anchored boat. I swam in underwater. My ring was still in the keel log. I was in time to attach my harness and wait for Ben to be transferred to Merker's boat.
There you are, fella. Another 20 minutes, you'll be on dry land.
That's good.
Now, we're gonna tuck you in some fishing nets. No matter what you hear, no matter what happens, lie still and be quiet. You understand?
I understand.
Okay.
Okay, turn around slowly.
Turn around.
As soon as we got underway, I realized that in my haste, I had placed my ring too close to the propeller. I'd have a hard time getting out of the harness without being caught. The pressure of the water was hitting me with much more force than I had expected. Merker's boat kept its course through an area of abandoned drilling platforms. It still looked just like an ordinary fishing boat, but a keen observer might have noticed that every man aboard was a lookout. Tim and his men were waiting for a sighting on their radar scope. Ben knew that at any moment he would be helplessly tossed into the sea. He used the remaining time to take long, deep breaths. This would hyperventilate his system and give him precious extra seconds underwater.
They're just coming in now, Inspector. That's them, all right. Just up here. And going fast, awful fast.
All right, give the helicopter its preliminary alert.
Watching for the first sign of Ben. I couldn't allow anything to go wrong. There was no room for error at all.
They're entering your drop zone, Inspector. Now!
Okay. Tell the Coast Guard to start the helicopter in.
helicopter.
Where?
There. Maybe it isn't the Border Patrol.
Maybe it is. We're not waiting to find out. Dump them.
Okay, now we move in. Straight ahead and give her everything you got.
I had seen Ben drop. There was no time to lose. I tried to snap the harness away, but I was still held. The force of the water against me was making it impossible to unhook the belt. In another few seconds, there would be too much distance between us for me to reach him in time. I had to wrench loose any way that I could and take my chances with the propeller. I shot downward. I don't think I ever moved so fast. I knew that Ben must be holding his breath desperately. There he was. The emergency packs had done their work and were holding him up. But Ben was in bad shape. He needed to get to the surface fast, and yet I had to move him upward at a slow rate. When we began to board Tim's boat, I wasn't sure whether Ben would make it or not. And we still hadn't nabbed Merker.
Get your feet under if you can.
That's the boat. Open her up. Give her all the speed you got.
Full speed ahead.
That boy, Ben. Ben, boy.
We haven't got you mixed up with anybody else this time, Merker. Ben's testimony will put you away permanently. Oh, Mike, now that we got these three, we ought to round up the rest of them pretty quickly. We got you to thank for it.
Not me, Tim. Ben here. He was the human decoy.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Bridges, inviting you to join us for another action-packed story of underwater adventure 1 week from today.